Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 10 of the Overwatch Coach. We've hit double digits, and I know just yesterday I did a Mercy video, but I've got another Mercy video for you guys today. I figure since I'm still feeling a little bit of the burnout from the loot box grind from the last event, the 1 year anniversary, and I was sitting on two Mercy submissions, I figure why not get them both done, get them out of the way back to back, so then that way probably won't do another Mercy video after this one for a little while. But this one is a 2600 even Mercy Platinum player. And it's on King's Row. It's a duo queue against a bunch of randoms. And I should add that they wrote me a little message to go along with this video that I thought I would include in the intro of this video. And it says, and I quote, "I honestly felt this game highlighted my mistakes and is on the poorer end of my play. I think submitting something like this is better so you can assess the shortcomings, positioning, in my opinion. Sorry my voice chat isn't recorded. You can see when I key up my mic but not what I say. I am also in Skype with my regular duo partner. He is a wee bit toxic and I typically am telling him to shut up or whatever. Sorry if you hear him in it a bit." So the reason I wanted to include that in part of the intro is we haven't really gotten much toxicity in the 10 episodes that we've done. I feel like everybody's been pretty positive. Now, keep in mind, I haven't listened, watched, or done anything with this video yet, so I don't know what kind of toxicity we're going to get from this person's friend. So I wanted to put out there for a fair warning if swearing or if you get really put off by people being toxic. I just wanted to put a fair warning out there that apparently that's somewhere in some way, shape, or form in this video. I'm hoping it won't be too bad. And if it is, I'll make a point of talking about it and bringing it up. But hopefully it won't be too bad. So, yeah, this is our second Mercy video in a row. This one on King's Row. Pretty much looking for the same things I was looking for in the last one. Your positioning, obviously, you kind of point out might be a problem. So I'm expecting to call that out. Otherwise, the thing that we highlighted in episode 9 was rezzing times and like when it's a good time to res, when you might hurt your team by not rezzing, even if it's only like a one-man res. So we'll be looking for that again. If you're pulling your pistol out too much or maybe not at the opportune times when I would think you would have it out, that sort of a thing. So without further ado, let's get into the video, and I gotta pull it up on my screen here before I flip over to it. Okay. Here it is. Alright, let's get started.
You want to?
I kind of like Zen, but
Alright, we're going to pause here and talk team composition. So we are on attack. Alright, so the first thing that I like about this is it's got a bit of a dive comp to it. And it looks like everybody's really going to be able to benefit from each other. So what do I mean by that? Obviously these two, being that they're duo queued, I like the fact that they're going far in Mercy. That's a nice duo queue. They probably have good chemistry together. And they can work off of each other well. They're probably not the first time they've done this. So that's good in its own right. Then, these two I want to point out. So when Winston dives, Zenyatta can keep his healing orb on him, assuming he does that. And he can also, if you happen to get picked off or if you get stuck having to heal, say, Roadhog, Zenyatta can throw his orb on Pharah and keep the Pharah being extremely aggressive. So I'm looking for the Pharah to put in some work here because he should be receiving, or Pharah is a she, so she should be receiving a lot of good support if the supports play properly. And then on top of all that, these two are self-healers. So that takes a lot of a lot of pressure off of the supports, which I think is good. And then you've got a bit of a dive comp with the Winston and the Pharah. You've got good damage with the Soldier and the Roadhog. I love this comp. I think if you guys don't take the point or don't get it, it won't be because of comp. And that's assuming we don't change. We've had some people changing before. I'm going to skip ahead a bit. Oop, I skipped too far. And it doesn't look like anybody's changed, so that's good. Alright. I'm not really sure why that Winston chose to bubble there. I guess he just didn't want them to get that early pick. You're not on Pharah. I'm curious to know where Pharah even is right now and why you're not healing them.
Okay, I haven't been healed this entire thing. Can I have some help? Like right here!
He's really low.
Yo, keep me alive. Thank you. I'm about to dive him.
Rusty's down.
Okay, so let's stop here for a second. So, alright, you guys are kind of just stuck at the choke right now. You're trying to get that pick. I get that you're kind of stuck on these two right now. However, the Roadhog's got a self-heal, and Zenyatta can self-heal that. All he's got to do is fall back a little bit, which a Zenyatta should be doing anyway. He's kind of over-positioning, overextending a little bit. And if he self-heals, plus he's got the orb on him, I wouldn't worry about him too much. What I would be doing is, you've got Pharah right here. Right? Now, if you guys are trying to go for a pick, what I'd be doing is I'd do the damage boost and I'd be flying and sticking to Pharah, because Pharah is your best chance between her and Roadhog to getting a pick. And I feel like the Zen can, between the Zen and the Roadhog themselves, can keep the Roadhog alive. So,
Okay,
is that's Soldier
I haven't
over
been
there.
healed this entire thing. Can I have some help?
Okay, so Pharah's right here, and she's stuck because she's not getting healed. I don't know if that's actually her talking or your friend talking, or if that was actually the 76 talking. I think it's your friend, just because they're low health and you haven't been healing them, and the Soldier was full health and flanking that way. So, assuming that's your friend talking, they are correct, and you should be glued to Pharah right now. Once they get healed, they should shoot out and start working opposite of what we're looking at. And you should be with them, flying with them. That's what I would be looking for here.
Like right here!
But it's, oh, maybe it is the Soldier talking. I mean, the Soldier's got self-heal, they should be fine.
I'm about to dive him.
Or full health too, so I don't know. But okay, so we just saw Pharah go up that way. I don't love that positioning as much as opposed to being over this way and kind of hugging the wall. However, with that said, I would still expect you to be with the Pharah, and it doesn't look like you're doing that. See, now it's good that you caught that when you did, because we saw Pharah at really low health, but it very easily could have been a pick for the defense. So be a little bit more cognizant of what your Pharah is doing, because the Pharah is your best friend, especially in a comp like this, because you don't have a lot of escapability. This team's going to be mostly clumped up. Granted, the Soldier was flanking and maybe gives you a flight option, but unless the Winston dives and you can fly to him, odds are that's not really going to happen. Chances are if you fly to a Winston, it's going to put you closer into trouble. So you got to keep that Pharah going. So now Pharah switched to Reaper.
Against a Zen and 2 hit scans. Soldier is behind us. He's inside the building. So he has high.
Okay, that was your friend talking, I think.
Are we not gonna press or what? Don't fucking get it.
So right now you're just trying to keep everybody going. Yeah, you might want to got on that Roadhog a little sooner. Had you have gotten on the Roadhog sooner, you probably could have damage boosted about half of that. Or at least kept him a little bit more on the aggressive side. Right now, you're stuck healing a Roadhog that doesn't need healing. You could be damage boosting him. You could have been damage boosting or healing the Winston there. Keep that healing stream or damage boost stream bouncing between people. I don't really love that your friend went Reaper. It's not the worst pick in the world, mind you. I don't want to harp on it too much, but I still think sticking to Pharah would have gotten him more damage or more use. I think the reason he switched is he was getting picked at a lot from the hit scans, and it was just because you weren't keeping him aggressive. Ooh, that was unfortunate. Here's another thing that I'd like to point out. So, right here, you guys have basically stalled at this point, as far as I'm concerned. Like, Zen is way overextended because there's nobody over here. Like, the one tank is dead. He should be coming back, and you should be retreating too. Like, this is the lost point. The two supports can't keep that thing moving, especially if there's a Roadhog this way, which we know is, or either that or he comes out over here. Can't remember. There's two things you could do here. You could either retreat back that way. Otherwise, I believe your friend, the Reaper, is up here. You could have him come to the window and fly to him. And then that way you got the high ground with him. You could do damage boosting for him. Just wait for your team to come back. You know, that sort of a thing. You were right not to res the Roadhog. I don't think that would have done anything. Okay, Winston was still there. So, wait a minute. Whoa, 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 whoa. What is Winston doing?
Let's keep it moving.
Okay, so I was right. Reaper's up there, so you could have communicated and orchestrated that. But what is Winston doing? Like, he's really overextended. Like, he needs to come back over here and help with the cart. Now, granted, if a Roadhog's right here, he's probably just going to die to that. But if the Roadhog focuses the Winston and not you, you keep him healed. There's also a Zenyatta. He could put the healing orb on him. If anything, you could eat up a bunch of time. I mean, and you also got Reaper down here. He could dive down and help. And all of a sudden, that's a fight that you guys can win. But this is just not coordinated very well. And it takes a support a lot of times to call stuff like this out, because they're the ones in the back where the pressure's sometimes not as great and could be coordinated better.
Fucking retards.
Back up, Zen.
Healing stream engaged.
Okay, I was waiting for you guys,
Soldiers on top right.
and y'all got fucking picked.
Your support.
Oh, they're all up there. Right.
Top right, they're all top right.
That was a fast stuff. Not much you could really do about that. I mean, you guys were kind of sitting out in the open, maybe regroup a little bit further back just to prevent that sort of a thing. Because right now it's a lost fight, I think. Well, maybe not. It's about even right now. Oh, but Mercy res, so yeah, now it's a lost fight. Oh, that's their soldier. Don't know if I'd have res that. Yeah. See, you kind of, like, alright, it was kind of an even fight. Let's rewind a bit here. It might be a little too far back. Okay, this is a good spot, actually, because this shows the kill feed that I want to see. So, alright, your team kind of starts picking up where they started to falter a little bit, and then Mercy reses. At that point, and considering who they rezzed, I'd call that a lost fight and be screaming for everybody to retreat. Get out of there. And save the res for your next fight when you guys can all push together as a team. Because right now, you're all segregated. You're all separated apart. You've got, I can't tell if that's 2 or 3 people up here. You might have 2 or 3. Let's just say you got 3 there. You're here, and then what would that be? That's 4. So then you got two back here somewhere. So you're already kind of not really. You don't have the numbers advantage, especially after that res. When they got the 2 picks, I thought, okay, maybe they could pull it off. But no, when Soldier ulted, that was already a lost fight, even with that res, because the rest of your team's still coming back. That should have been a res save for later. We'll watch this again just to illustrate. I mean, you do a good job hiding, and I get that the res kept you alive longer up until this point, of course. It's more about just the numbers, the positioning, and where your team is in relation to what you're up against. Now, somehow, wow, your team's actually doing pretty good right now.
I'm coming, Mercy.
Hold on, I want to rewatch this. I'm really confused how that happened. So, okay. So basically, your team's just carrying without a healer. I mean, you got Zen, but I wonder if Zen used trance. That maybe could have saved him. I don't know. That's hard to say. You never get to hear the Zen trance or see it in the kill feed. I didn't hear it, but maybe it was there.
Why? Why is it that our Roadhog always... I see him always getting grabbed.
One thing I'll say is you don't hit tab enough. You got to look at the stats a little bit more. That's a good Reaper ult. He just took out 4. I'd be screaming to get 3 people on point right now, because yeah, you just got a team wipe. Get as much ground as you can. This is always a point that people get stuck at. So you guys might be able to just blow right through it.
Approaching from the right side.
No, Zen didn't use trance, so I don't know. I really wish I could see that fight and how it played out.
Come on.
I mean, you're doing a good job. You're hanging to the back. You've got res, so at this point you might even be waiting to. This would be one time to wait for a team wipe and then have them all die on point and res everything. Especially now that Mercy only resed 1 person, a soldier. Now, granted, soldier ulted, but this might be a good time to hide off and just see what happens. Okay, so each Mercy reses a solo soldier. Nobody was really dying, so I can't fault it too much. And you guys took it. You guys actually took that pretty cleanly. I'm used to fighting on that last point for about 5 minutes with just everybody mad dashing to it. So, I mean, hey, it worked.
That's the one thing I like about turning off all my music, all my sound, and I can hear the footsteps really clearly.
In terms of what I saw, though, I thought you did pretty well for the most part. Positioning wasn't terrible, other than at the start. And your first, I think it was your first res. Those are really the only 2 times I'd call into issue with your positioning. But the big one, the real big one was you should have been glued to that Pharah at the beginning. The res...
I do. Soldier?
It's hard to, when you're in spur of the moment, it can be hard to fault on that a little bit. But I thought otherwise the enemy team didn't do a lot to pressure you, so I thought they made your job easier because of that. I'm used to seeing teams going a little bit more divey, a little bit more aggressive on the healers. I didn't really see a lot of that. And I think because they didn't do that, you guys were able to take all the points as easily as you did.
I'm gonna set up on the left-hand side, next to.
You just showed me the team comp, and I didn't. There we go. All right, let's talk team comp because I don't know if I'm going to see that screen again. So defense this time. What do we got? So we've got. I'm thinking. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'd call it somewhere in the middle on this one. The thing I don't like about it is you guys don't have a shield. I'd like to see either an Orisa or a Rein here. I wouldn't really care which. To me, Orisa's more of a defensive anchor tank, as Blizzard called Orisa the anchor tank. To me, she's a defensive anchor tank. So here I would encourage Orisa or Reinhardt, depending on whatever somebody is best at. I like Road. I like Mei. I'm okay with Zen, and I'm okay with this. I'd probably call for the Winston to switch. Not that I hate Winston or anything, and he's not the worst pick in the world here. But yeah, I'd call for one of these two to switch. I'm not exactly sure who, though, because I like the ice walling, and I think Mei's actually a little undervalued in the current kind of divey meta that's been running around. On my Smurf account, I've been running a lot of Mei, and I'm actually surprised at how effective I've been finding myself as her lately. So, I don't know, and I know Winston's so popular right now, too, and Roadhog, it's hard to say, hey, get off of Roadhog, because he's so overpowered right now before the Reaper buff and the Roadhog nerf. So it's hard to say who should switch, but I'm looking at Mei or Winston on this.
I think this is good. I think this is a good chokehold.
But it's not a terrible comp. That's why I say it's somewhere in the middle.
I'm a little wary of the fact that, well, we have no shields besides a Mei wall, so...
Yeah, I got my little bubble. That could help a bit.
See, yeah, they're talking about the Winston bubble helping a bit, and they're not wrong, but they're not right either, because as I talked before in previous episodes about Winston and when, excuse me, when to bubble and not to bubble, his bubble isn't designed to protect his whole team. I mean, unless he drops it on like a Diva Bomb or something. So, if he's got to drop his bubble just to protect you guys, why not just go Reinhardt? Why not just go Orisa if you're that concerned about it? Like, that bubble there does nothing. Like, that's not going to do anything. Maybe allows Roadhog to try to get an early pick, but he didn't get one, so the bubble really didn't do anything. You're doing a good job moving around, though. Ooh, a little late on the soldier. The soldier should not have been there. It's hard to blame you for that pick, because soldier died right there. Soldier should be up here. You could be up here. Even somewhere up here. He should be high ground. So, yeah, the soldier was bad positioning. It's hard to blame you on that one. However, we have Winston is dead. I want to rewatch this and just try to see if I can see Winston getting low. I admit to not noticing it, so it's hard to fault you for that, but I want to rewatch this. So you gave him a quick little burst of healing. You got... oh, wait, Soldier was up there. Why do you fall... Okay, so wait a minute. Why did Soldier dive down? I want to see if I can get this up on a shot here, but maybe I won't. Oh, I'm fast forwarding. That's why I'm not getting this. Duh. Alright, going the proper way this time. Yeah, he drops right here. I think you're damage boosting Soldier right here. Why does Soldier drop? If your friend watches this, ask him why he dropped there, because that was a bad positioning move. So, alright, Winston's off the screen. Yeah, you just didn't see him. That's what it was. You weren't paying attention. Wait, no, that's a soldier. Never mind. Okay. Alright. I'm with you now. So, alright, you're on Winston now. That was soldier that died. And he died because of poor positioning. So, Winston, you got the healing orb on him, or orb stream on him. And he just ends up taking too much damage and dies. Now, this is where the Winston bubble would have came into place, but because he has to drop it, he feels compelled to drop it to shield you guys. He probably wasted it on some other position that it probably didn't really help anything, but he just felt compelled to put it down. And this is why I'm saying run an Orisa, run a Reinhardt, because now you're getting poor play out of your Winston, and now he's dead. So what good was it in the long run? He didn't pick off anybody, and now you're down your main DPS, and you're down your co-tank. And is... Okay, he saves Zenyatta. Maybe. Maybe you did. He's still getting hit. You got off of Zenyatta. Oh, you got... Okay, you were on him long enough for him to kill Genji, but everybody else died. So now we got a solo Zen defending the point, which I think we can both guess is not going to go well. Well, maybe not. Zen got another pick. Okay, now he's down. Yeah.
Fuck.
Zen made a valiant effort.
You guys.
Not sure what you're doing here. If this works... Yeah. I mean, you ate up some time, but really all that did in the long run was feed them ult advantage. That's really all that was. You shouldn't have encouraged that. Trying to save that Winston. You should have fell back and encouraged the Winston to attempt a retreat. However, Winston never should have even put himself in that position. And that's really unfortunate you got stuck in that, because that would have been a nice rezzing opportunity. So both... Okay, so wait a minute. I want to get your tab screen back up here. I didn't have my finger on the pause button. I should have caught that. There we go. Okay, so... one of the few chances where I can talk team comp to team comp here. So, alright. Wait a minute. I thought you're... Okay, maybe... Alright. So the Mei went 76 and your friend went Pharah, even though I thought your friend was a 76. So I guess there was a communication I must have missed or something. Alright, so what do we got here? Anna and Lucio are good healers. That's a good healer duo. And... other than Winston, there's not much that can dive it. I suppose Pharah probably could, depending on how they play. The one good thing about this switch here, and especially if you support the Pharah, there's only a McCree to really do anything about it. I mean, yeah, you could maybe get Anna, maybe, but really it's McCree. And there's nothing here to really support a McCree against a Pharah Mercy. If it ends up just being Pharah and McCree, then I might give it to McCree, maybe. It depends a little bit on who gets what for the jump and all that. But it's on you to win that battle here. And if they win that battle and cross out the McCree, there's not much here to stop a Pharah. Yeah, Anna can kind of snipe at her, but again, this will trump this and this. So if, and I don't know if you're going to or if you're not, I'm just saying, if you see this, you should be licking your chops. Because Winston can take out Genji, Roadhog can take out Winston, Soldier can take out these two with a little bit of help, which he'll get if you guys combo up on these two. So your team comp is set to win, in my opinion. I like your guys' team comp, and I like your guys' chances off of this. It's just really unfortunate you died in that Graviton.
Reinhardt.
The other thing I want to point out here, just while we're looking at it, that's pretty low. Work a little bit more on being aggressive with your damage boost and try to get that up. I don't know if you've ever logged into Overbuff and looked at your personal stats, but I'd be curious to know what your damage amplified average is, assuming you are a Mercy main. If it is, see where you're balancing out between everybody else that's ranked as a Mercy main, and get that number up a lot. I mean, well, maybe not a lot, but double at least. So now we finally get off Winston for Reinhardt, and I don't know why I said finally, because actually I don't really like that choice at this point in time. And now we got off Pharah for Reaper, and I don't like that choice. Boy, I just praised your guys' comp, and you just changed it up on me. Oh boy.
We gotta move.
Let's see what happens. I mean, it's good you guys didn't try to overextend because they pretty much had that point. What is Reaper doing? I don't know. He's really overextended right now. Like, alright. Overextending past here, in my opinion, unless there's like a special circumstance for it, is bad play in my opinion. It's drastically overextending. In my opinion, I think you guys are all overextended right now. What I would suggest doing is, let me get off my drawing tool. Yeah, this is good. You guys should be camping this area here and not moving from it. So they don't quite, wait, yeah, they literally just took the point. They just have it. Stay where you're at, because fighting and contesting this alleyway here doesn't do a lot for you. I mean, now if there's like a circumstance where if you guys didn't push it all the way and they only have to go to like here, then okay, that's a different circumstance. But they got to get the whole thing. So giving them this isn't that big of a deal, because this area here and then this area back here, that's typically easy for a defense to hold. But the second you start pushing that way, and if they get a team wipe because you guys overextend, you've given them a choke that they should be fighting for, and you'd be giving it for free. Because you're fighting too close to their spawn. So any picks that you guys get once they take objective point 2 isn't that big of a deal. It's just not that big of a deal because they're going to be back so fast. And the time it takes you guys to get back to this alleyway that you're now standing in takes longer than it takes them to get back. So you're putting yourselves at a bit of a disadvantage here. And it's not just you, because I get it. You're the Mercy. You got to keep your team alive. And again, this kind of goes to the point I was making, that support's got to kind of be the ones to make some of these call-outs and say, hey, let's fall back a little, we're a little overextended. Because like right now, you're the one that's most overextended. All it takes is one person to go down that little hallway and, ooh, Mercy. And if it's the McCree, he could just headshot you with a stun grenade.
Hurry, moving away.
The res was okay. It supports this overextension that's basically falling apart. And now everybody's dying. Yeah. I say the res was okay, but really all it did was support an overextend. And basically what happened is what I just said was going to happen. You guys just gave them a corner choke point that they should be fighting for. And it looks like they might just roll right over you guys now. The good news is you're halfway to another res, but how good would that res be right here getting Roadhog back? Or maybe even resing around that last corner turn.
We don't have res.
Yeah, it was the overextension that killed you guys the most. And it's hard for me to say if that res...
Garbage.
If you save that res, if it would have saved you guys truly in the end, or not. Because if you didn't make that res, you guys probably would have just been trickling the rest of the time, unless somebody makes a nice ult and kind of saves you guys. So it's difficult for me to say. Considering I said it was an okay res at the time, I'll give it to you. I won't really harp on it much more. But it's one of those things where if you hold on to it, you wonder what maybe could have happened.
Play well is another question.
I think this is fine. We can dive like this.
Alright. So with this comp, it looks like we're going back to what you guys started with outside of Reaper as a start hero. If he's comfortable playing Pharah, you guys really should be working that Pharah Mercy combo. Reaper on attack on this map, I don't love it. I find it too open. Not to say it can't work, but you got to be really stealthy with it, and you got to be really taking your time with maneuverability. And there's only 1:44 on the clock for you guys, I think is what that says. So I don't know that Reaper's such a great pick here. I think going Pharah would have been a better pick. And since he was, and the only reason I'm particularly calling on Pharah is two reasons. One, he started on Pharah, so he's obviously comfortable playing Pharah. And two, because you're Mercy and you could support the Pharah a lot better than you could that Reaper. Although Zen could support the Reaper if they coordinated. But these two aren't the duo. You two are. Otherwise, I don't really have an issue with the comp.
This is not dive.
This is
So we can still do it.
And if you guys were going for a dive comp, you get an F. Because this is not dive. There's only two dive heroes in this comp, and that's the Zenyatta and the Winston. If you guys were shooting for a dive, having a Pharah turns Mercy into a bit of a dive hero, because now she's got to be up in the air, but she's diving more. Roadhog would be okay. The Reaper, obviously, and 76 would probably be like a Genji or a Tracer.
This is actually not that great now.
The hit scan's less valuable in this particular game because the enemy team has shown no signs of ever going Pharah. Not to say having a hit scan's bad, but it's not as much of a requirement because of that.
He's down.
Like, right now, Reaper's not even doing anything unless he was just
Let's go in,
saving
they're moving back.
his teleport. No, he... Like, let's cover this for a second. So that soldier there, he dives down to flank. So we've got a flanking soldier, but Reaper's just... What is he doing? Like, what are you doing up here? The only reason you should be up here... And I'm talking to your friend right now. Let's see. Yeah, alright, there we go. This will work. Is if Reaper's up here, standing on this ledge, the only reason for that should be to teleport over on this side here. Otherwise, what is he doing? Otherwise, he could drop down and do what the soldier just did, and then start working. Because attack Reaper on King's Row really only has one effective way of doing things. Well, maybe two, depending on what they run. He either goes around this bend and works back over here, kind of makes that S and snakes around and starts harassing the back end. Or he comes up here, he either drops down or he teleports this way and then starts flanking around back here. Or he drops down and if there's people over on this area, like over here, he harasses them. That's what a Reaper should be doing on attack. Not just standing here and watching and then being tilted and complaining. Like, I don't know in what world he lives in that he has the right to tilt and be mad when he plays like this. Like, that's really poor Reaper play. Okay, Reaper did a good job. He got this. Ooh.
What?
McCree with a good
Can't
ult.
just fucking dilly-dally like that.
Did he just say what I thought he said? Dilly-dally? When he's just standing up here? Like... Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Healing stream engaged.
Seconds. Oh, one last push.
Okay, I like that you didn't res that, because you guys got time. You guys had about 40-some seconds left on the clock. Everybody's going to be able to get back, regroup. That's a good not res. So applause for that. Save it for your last push. Alright, Reaper's doing better positioning this time.
Get ready to put it.
No, he's not. Okay, so remember what I said? And he just stays here and goes this way. This is what I don't like about this. He's putting himself in long range and he's not giving himself ideal targets. He might be able to get the Winston, but you guys got a Roadhog. And right now, in the current state of the game, Roadhog is a better Reaper. And he's a better counter to Winston. So he should not be worrying about Winston. What he needs to do is flank around here, come around and start harassing the backline, harass healers, harass a DPS. It's hard to say what's all back here, but if he's worried about Winston, he shouldn't be.
Go, you gotta go.
Get in there.
Okay, 1 second. Gotcha. Got him. I got him.
Okay,
Kenji on top.
yeah, this looks like you guys won this point.
Yep, get him out of here. Good job. As long as we get his tape, we're canceled.
Alright.
Yep, get him out of here. Good job. As long as we
Okay,
get his tape.
I was gonna say something, but I wanted to rewatch it because I wasn't sure, and I'm glad I rewatched it because I would have been wrong.
The hell, where is
Oh, we got him. That's a win at all.
Don't res that. Don't res it. Don't you res it. Okay, good.
it? Stay on the point. Stay by the point. I need to all stay by this point.
First, point. Reapers. I guess.
I'll stay on here with it. You guys.
I need to go off top.
Okay, they say don't stay off the point, or don't get off the point. You are an exception to that because when they get wiped, you got to be able to come in and res that. And if you're with them as they get wiped, you're not going to be able to res it. So I like that you're falling back, but you weren't back enough, and I'm betting what's... Yep. You died with res in overtime. That is a cardinal sin, and your team's getting wiped without the res.
Fine.
We got it. Come on. Try it. Come on, soldier.
Yeah.
Try.
So it's what I just called. It literally happened as I called it. So let's go back a bit.
On.
Right here.
If you're gonna die close. We have a res.
Okay. So if you're gonna die close. At that point, I get you kind of tried to hide right in here. And maybe it would have been a good idea to try to work this area and maybe come out behind them as they started diving. However, the second I saw them diving, I would have came back and looped back that way, behind the choke, that archway choke there. I would have hid behind that and then made the res. The only reason for that is because they've got an alleyway into here, so you're not really that safe over here. And if you are going to hide, if you think you can hide there, don't give your positioning away by beaming, because they're going to just see that and know you're there, and then you're not really out of harm's way at all. So if you really wanted to be in this vicinity here, you shouldn't have been healing or damage boosting. You shouldn't have been doing anything. You should literally have just been hiding and biding time and basically saying to myself, please don't find me, please don't find me. However, you seem like the type of person that plays Mercy and wants to keep people alive even when you have res. That's a habit. When I don't play a ton of Mercy, but when I do play her, and I have a support account, so I do have hours on her, I had to get myself out of that habit when I do have res, because a good team will go for you. And if you're one of the first ones getting picked, your res is useless. You have to be the last one alive for a good res, or at least somewhere in the middle. Situational, it depends. And you put yourself in harm's way because when you're in overtime, you're looking for a bigger res, and I get that. But once you're in harm's way, you're not going to survive for those big reses. You have to play a lot farther back. And I would blame the overtime push on you, essentially. Because you can't really blame anything else. Zarya ults, that was to be expected that she should either have it or be very close to it. And it should be expected that they're going to start diving on you guys. So at that point, you yourself need to be saying, I can't die with res. If I die, I have to have already resed. And then if they beat us, well then, so be it. I did what I could do. You didn't do what you could do on overtime. So that push, only getting it as far as that, I'd put a lot on your shoulders for that one.
Hey, do you play anything else?
It definitely wasn't team comp. Ooh, he's going Symmetra. I really want to do a Symmetra video. If anybody's watching this and wants to learn about Symmetra, I have a lot of hours on her. I'm going to be very critical of how he plays Symmetra.
We have Roadhog.
And I've been critical on your friend quite a bit today. I like his
They'll
skin.
probably want to dive.
Is that a gold Symmetra gun?
If they run dive and the Genji gets in front of you, Bastion.
Okay, so
Yeah, no.
let's talk team comp. All right, I think this is an interesting team comp. All right, let's talk about what I like and what I'm worried about here. All right, so these two should be able to work together. The Mercy solo heal with a Symmetra, I like. I encourage that when I go Symmetra on this map, so I think that's good. I like D.Va for her portability or mobility, basically being able to contest these high grounds here. If they try to take that on you guys. Soldier's good. The only thing I'd question is D.Va for a Winston. It's the only thing I'm wondering about. I don't hate the D.Va pick, though. I think you guys are... I like what you guys are running. And depending on what they go... Okay, now hold on here. This is bad Symmetra play. This is really bad Symmetra play.
I don't know if that's good.
Okay. We're going to get off of the Mercy review for a moment, and we're going to cover just a little bit of Symmetra. Turrets are right here. This, and I think there's one here too. I can't tell if that's a light post or a turret, but we're going to say it's a turret. This is really bad positioning. So there's a wall here, and then a wall here, and then this is the choke that they try to push through. That's one way you could play it with the turrets. The other way is, let me redraw this. There's a bus right along here. I'm going to do that. You could put a turret here, here, 3 here, and another one somewhere in that vicinity or somewhere over there. That could be another thing you could do. But the reason why I hate these turrets is because this is a fallback spot that he could put turrets at any time. You're not going to be able to get turrets over here at any time, and you're definitely not going to be able to get turrets there at any time. The turret's got to start out in a much more aggressive spot to build ult, because you guys are going to need that teleporter. And he needs to be building his ult a heck of a lot faster. So this is not good Symmetra play. This is going to hurt you guys quite a bit. The other thing I'm wondering about is where the Bastion is going to set up.
Think about Roadhog is he can hook and stagger.
He took high ground and then dropped off of it.
Don't play window area.
Know you're solo,
I'm
but
gonna...
right now, I need you. I need you. Okay?
Yeah, if I was you talking to him, I would be telling him, I need you to place your turrets in a better spot, because this is not a good spot. This is not good Symmetra play. Okay, so I'm okay with where... I don't know if I'm okay with this. This puts the Reinhardt in a really awkward spot. I almost feel like this would be a better Orisa positioning, because she could shoot a shield over there. This puts you at a really awkward spot too. Like, the more I think about it, the more I don't like that position. These two here are way out of position. So if they're running a Widow, they can rain down here. They can see you here. They can see a little bit this way too. So that means if you're over here healing them, you're risking a snipe coming around here, coming over here, walking in this area. You're risking all of that. What I think they should be doing is one of two things. Let me rewind just a little bit. Okay, Bastion and Rhine setting up here isn't bad. It's not great either, though. I would really just encourage play the point. Just set up in here as a Rhine and a Bastion. Just set up here and shoot through that way. I think that would actually be perfect. Let D.Va worry about over here because of her mobility. The Symmetra, I'm going to tell you exactly where Symmetra should be. If I can get a shot of it. I don't know if I will. I think I'm fast forwarding too much now. Symmetra should be working that building there. That's where Symmetra needs to be. And then working the choke. Keeping turrets on that choke as best she can and spamming photons through it. So she's risking getting sniped. The Symmetra is risking that too. So Ryan kind of fell back a bit, and Bastion ended up getting left by himself. That's really poor coordination on everybody's part, because Bastion can't be left alone. You guys got to be playing around the Bastion. And that was all from poor positioning. Now you died because of all the chaos that's happening from the poor positioning. Symmetra did a good job killing the healers in the chaos, but nothing else died. And because of that, the Symmetra gets melted. Like,
solo killed their healers. You people somehow managed to still all die.
okay, wait a minute now. That's not true. And I'm going to prove it. What he just said is completely not true and isn't showing good game awareness. So, okay, the two healers are dead, and now he's dead.
They got their healers.
And look how fast these two went down to how fast those healers went down. He took out the healers, and within, what, 3 seconds, Soldier and the D.Va mech went down. So that's not really applicable. And then on top of that, Baby D.Va goes down.
Come on.
So what is he talking about? They all die, and then Roadhog gets melted. He probably self-healed, and that was the only reason he didn't die immediately.
Somehow managed to still
And on top of that, and to his point, oh, we took out the healers, and they still died? Well, you died before their healers died, so you're the only healer. I don't get his logic. Good job there. Good job on both of you doing the damage boosting. Good job on the Symmetra countering the Genji. Symmetra is a strong Genji counter. If played properly. Okay. You guys are overextended again, but not by a lot. This is overextending. You guys should be fighting for this. Fight for this choke right here, because let them push this cart into here. So let's redraw this. This is the choke, and if this cart is right here, and that's actually probably pretty small, it's probably more like that. So we'll just fill this all in. This is the cart. If you guys get the cart, if you allow it to go here, and you just start spamming the sides here, and you can easily do that. You could work, I'm trying to think the best way to do this. You could have Ryan holding his shield here, just watching a little bit of both sides, just kind of going back and forth depending on whichever side they try to push. D.Va can kind of work the other side with her defense matrix and also kind of cover up when his shield dies. Roadhog works a hook on one side, Symmetra works a hook on another side, and 76 watches the flank and calls out for flanks. And then the Symmetra sets up her turrets over here, just, you know, kind of along this area. Over here, over here. So the second they start pushing through this choke, the turrets just start raining down on him, setting up a car wash. That's her new voice line, set up a car wash. And maybe he's doing that. I'm not saying he's not. But you guys aren't allowing that to even happen, because what's going to happen if you're solo healing with a triple tank, one, that's not ideal. But it can work just because you only got to hold for 2.5 minutes. And if you're working that choke and minimalizing the damage you take, you could make that work. However, you guys are choosing to fight up here. So, and for whatever reason, Reinhardt's just up and away swinging, probably taking a buttload of damage. If the D.Va's good, she might be able to cover him. But really, you guys should be working that choke. That Reinhardt's going to die if you don't get on him. He just made it. You got on him at the last possible second. And he would have been worth just solo rezzing at that point. So, yeah, look at this. So, let's rewind this just a little bit. So, what was I saying? I was just saying, hold this choke and you guys could win this. But the second you guys get away from overextending, everybody took a ton of damage. You're solo healing, so you can only do so much in terms of catching up to the healing. And then on top of that, there are 3 tanks, so it takes a while to heal each one individually. They're going to get this choke. It looks like they're going to get it. The other thing D.Va would have to do, now that I'm thinking about it, is watch up top here. She'd have to cover that high flank because you guys don't have anything else for that. But yeah, look at that. So, okay, the car wash is set up, but it's not getting supported at this point. I'm going to rewind this a few frames because we can't even see it now. Yeah, that's good. So, alright, here's the problem. So, he's got the turrets set up right here. I don't know how many he has set up. I can see 2. I'd hope that there would be more, but I don't know that there are. And you can see Zarya shooting her beam and just taking them all out. That's Zarya's beam, and she's just clearing them out, and she's good for that. She's also good for building her charge off of Symmetra turrets. So if you're playing with the Symmetra and they're running a Zarya, you got to be really aggressive on her so that she can't charge her ult off of Symmetra photons and turrets and things like that. She's choosing just to take him out, which is fine. The problem is now, because he's got a car wash set up, it's not going to do anything if everybody fell back and can't defend it. Like, that has to be, like, you guys have to be over here defending this, and the second that they start to overextend and bleed through, then the car wash kicks in and starts really hindering them, because if they've got 6 turrets set up on that arcway, it's going to slow them down enough to get the pick. Either Roadhog can hook them, or Soldier and D.Va can land enough headshots to take them out, depending on who it is, or just do a lot of damage. And they won't be able to do much about that. But instead, because of the overextension, you guys had to all fall back because they were all waiting for health, and now they're just going to push it right through the choke. You solo res 76. You res that way too early. And I think I know why you did. I think you were worried that the... You're worried that Genji's gonna kill you. I think. But it doesn't look like he's even going for you, which is interesting. Because he sees you, you fly away from him. I would have waited. And I think if you waited even an extra couple of seconds, you would have gotten... Yeah, if you were able to hold off on that even a second or 2 longer, you would have gotten Sim and Reinhardt in that. I don't know that that would have made a difference in the long run, just because everybody's getting melted and they busted through.
Teleporter's up, guys. Teleporter's up.
Yeah, the teleporter's way too late. That won't matter. I don't think it will anyway. Let's see. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, I might be wrong. It's a really aggressive teleporter, but I like it. Sometimes the aggressive teleporters win you guys games. I didn't think that that would matter. I thought that they'd be able to push that through. Somebody must have delayed it just enough for you guys to be able to do that again. All right, so I'm surprised you guys held on to that, but kudos to everybody for being able to do that. So right now, Symmetra needs to set up here, here, maybe something over there just to know if there's a flanker coming, but they need to get those turrets up ASAP, and your tanks need to set up here. This choke is what you guys need to hold. 76 could take high ground on top of the objective just to make sure it doesn't get sneaked. Alright. This is turning into a bit of a Symmetra review, but I want to... Shoot. Alright. He's setting up his turrets here, and he's putting all of them there. He needs to spread those out around here. Having a couple over in this area might not be a bad idea, but he shouldn't put all of them there, because one Zarya burst could take out at least 3 of those. Otherwise, one swipe of Zarya's laser and they're all dead. Maybe 2 swipes.
Stand by my fucking,
Okay, you have res again. That's very
stand by
good.
my little...
Because I'm guessing at this point the teleporter's only got a single use on it, if even that. You're hiding. That's good. See, now the car wash is working more. Although, because how he placed the turrets, they fell apart.
Where is he?
Keep eating those old Shiva.
This is one time I'd advocate for triple support.
Is the Zarya bubble?
Because I think Symmetra is very valuable here, but I think solo healing is hurting you guys a little bit. This would be one time to go Ana over a 76 maybe, and let the tanks do the work. But let's see how this goes. You're doing a good job staying out of the way. You're keeping your healing stream as balanced to everybody as you can. One thing I'd suggest doing is power boosting or damage boosting the Symmetra photons.
Got him, got him, got him.
Hey, can I get some heals?
Oh boy. That res felt early. That felt real early. Alright, alright, this is what I don't like about this res. Let's rewatch this.
Hey, can I get some heals?
I'm okay with you healing the Reinhardt. I'm okay with you backing away. Okay. You're doing the right thing by hiding, although you're overextended right now. You should still be back that way. And this is what I don't like about it. Okay, you see these 2 are down. However, you knew he was low, so you could expect him to be one of the first ones to go. The Symmetra dying that early is a little surprising. I'm not exactly sure where he was or what he was trying to do at the time. But it would have been nice to see him fall back just a little bit. Working the shields, working the photons, that sort of a thing. See, okay, so I wanted to try. So, like, right around here, as you're turning the corner, you hear Genji ulting, and you know they have Ana, and you know that they're comboing the ults because they've already done it once, so you can expect them to do it again. If you're hiding back there, and after they team wipe, then you res. And you heard it as you were coming around, so that was poor reaction time. It was almost like you were stuck, like you already made up your mind to do it, and you were just going to do it no matter what. I've done that before, too. And that's going to cost you this game, I think. Because these guys, you brought them back to life just to be killed by Genji again, I think. Because there isn't going to be the magical Symmetra teleporter to bring you guys all back to the point again. Or maybe there will be. Wow, they both held on. Wow, okay. I stand corrected again. I was really surprised they were able to hold on to that. I want to see... I'm actually wow. I'm really surprised they didn't focus Symmetra first and then Reinhardt, because it looks like Sim was able to clean up. So it makes sense to me a little bit, though, because Sim counters these two heroes. I didn't see where 76 was, so he must have somehow survived all of this and kind of helped keep them alive. Maybe he dropped... Oh, he did drop a heal, assuming that's theirs, or his, your guys's. Wow, very good job on that. I stand corrected twice by Symmetra. And that's why I really like Symmetra and why I play a lot of Symmetra. She can save people. Look at that. Look at that. Let me pull this up here. If I can. Look at that. One box of hit point. Symmetra was almost dead. That's a good teleport spot given the circumstances. I really like that one too, because it makes the other team, like, let's say for a second, they have a choice of going for the teleporter or the objective at overtime. They can't go for the teleporter and you guys can all get back. However, teleporter maybe being a smidge back further could have been a little safer, but it ended up working out. So I'm being nitpicky. But look at that. You got back just in the smidge of time. That's incredible. And after that, yeah, you just keep Symmetra alive and everybody else can just rein in their damage, and the Sim in close range is going to dominate everything. So, yeah, that was very well done. So yeah, in terms of positioning, I think really it seemed like you kind of know what to do, but you get a little too over-aggressive, and your team was just really over-aggressive. I think if you work out with your team where they should be fighting and when they're pushing too far, I think you experience some better games, and you as a Mercy, you can see the battlefield better than a lot of people can. Same with like a Lucio or a Zenyatta player. But I don't think you're a bad Mercy. The one thing I will really harp on is you had a chance to fire a Mercy combo, and you didn't do that. And I don't really understand why you didn't do that. That's my big thing for what I watched from you that I don't really understand. But your team made it work without it. I think you guys could have had an easier game if you worked with the Pharah more. Aside from that, damage boosting. You got to damage boost more. You weren't really working the damage boost as much as I would have liked to have seen Platinum Mercy work. So try to fit that in more. When you're working with a Symmetra and there's not a lot of damage being taken, try to time when they're going to shoot a photon and damage boost it, because those things do a lot of damage as it is. And if you can squeak out a little bit more power to you. Same with a Soldier, same with a Roadhog when he's going to be hooking. If you see D.Va in a close quarter fight, let the mech take about, I don't know, 40% damage before you start healing it, because it's a mech. Same thing with the Reinhardt. If he's in a swing battle and he's hitting people and he's at full health when he starts it, get a few damage boosted swings in there before you start healing him, because he's a tank. They can take a bit of damage before you damage boost it. So I hope I helped you guys out a little bit, especially our Mercy player here. You're definitely a pretty good Mercy. There's just a few little things, and I don't think it'll take you very long to pick up on those and get better with them. And I definitely think you could climb into Diamond with those few couple tweaks to your repertoire. So I will see you guys for episode 11. Probably in about 3 to 4 days I'll get another episode out. So have a good day, guys.